Hey, this is Luke from piffriffs.com. In this video, I'll be showing you how to get a polished vocal sound using the Ableton Glue Compressor. I'll also show you all the knobs on the Glue Compressor and how they shape your sound. If you'd like to follow along in the Ableton session file, you can head to piffriffs.com and download it, or just follow the link in the description. In order to get your vocals ready for compression, we need to take care of a few things. First, we need to set the best possible clip gain level. So what I'll do is I'll double click the clip that has our vocals in it, and I will increase or decrease the gain to get it to be a nice fat waveform. Ideally, you'd get a good level during recording, but sometimes you get sent files or it's not ideal, so we can just dial in the clip gain right here. We don't want it to be too quiet. We want it to be a nice fat waveform, but we don't want it to be too loud either. Next, we'll remove any unwanted noise and increase or decrease the gain of any words that are too quiet or too loud in the vocals. So to do that, I'll solo the vocals, and we'll just do some basic editing here.
So I'll wait it out. You already had me vexed, and I'll take it down. You already know the rest.
Okay, this looks pretty good. Doesn't need a lot of work here. Next, what we'll do is we'll set the best possible channel levels of all the other instruments that we have in our mix. And I would also suggest grouping them all so that we can have total control. So check this out. Here are all my other instruments. I'll press Command G and label this music. So I'm going to play this back and just adjust the level of the group.
So I'll wait it out. You already had me vexed, and I'll take it down. You already know the rest.
Okay, cool. Not bad at all. So, one last thing I'll do before engaging the compressor on the vocals, I will EQ the vocal. I want it to sound as good as possible before compression. The compression will bring out all the nuance. You may or may not have to do this depending on your recording that you're using, but use your ears to determine if it's necessary. Just so you know, the compressor is used to add intimacy, polish, and energy, so any recording flaws will become more noticeable the more compression you add. I will do a separate video on EQ, and we'll go over the whole gamut, but for right now I'm just going to do a quick EQ job on this vocal. And to be fair, it sounds pretty good already, but we're just going to work on it.
So I'll wait it out. You already had me vexed, and I'll take it down. You already know the rest.
Okay, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just removing some boxiness and just adding some shine at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and add the glue compressor to our track after the EQ. I'm going to go through all these controls one by one. Attack controls how fast the compressor engages. I typically use a faster attack when I want something to sound smooth like singing, and I'll use a slower attack when it's more rhythmic like rapping or drums or percussion. A slower attack will basically allow more of the transients to poke through. I'm going to do a fast attack. Release controls how fast the compressor stops compressing. I like to use a fast release on vocals, and I would have to say I think a lot of engineers do that as well, but you can play around with it and see what works and try it on different instruments, obviously. Next, ratio controls how much compression occurs once the signal exceeds the threshold. So a lower ratio is more subtle and a higher one is more aggressive compression. For vocals, we're going to leave it at 4. Threshold is the level that the audio has to exceed in order to engage the compressor. What we'll do here is we'll play it back and we'll adjust the threshold so that we get some action here on the meter.
So I'll wait it out. You already had me vexed.
I like to have it compressing in between 0 and 10 dB. Now next is the makeup. So makeup is additional gain that you had to compensate for the volume reduction caused by the compressor. So we're going to go ahead and add some makeup.
So I'll wait it out. You already had me vexed.
Awesome. Soft clip engages a limiter that introduces pleasant harmonics rather than harsh digital clipping if you turn it up really loud. So I recommend having this on just in case you're clipping, but you can play around with it and see what works for you. Next, range adjusts the maximum amount of compression that can happen. So if we turn this down, the compressor will only go to the certain number that you dial it into. I'm not going to use this for right now. Lastly, dry wet allows you to dial in a mix of unaffected versus affected sound. So this is also called parallel compression. I'm not going to use this right now. I would prefer to have the vocal completely compressed. So I'm going to dial this in, fine tune it a little bit, and we're going to check out this track with the compressed vocal.
So I'll wait it out. You already had me vexed, and I'll take it down. You already know the rest.
Sounds pretty good to me. You have to be careful with makeup, because if you add a lot of gain compared to how it sounded before, your ears are going to be deceived and you're always just going to think it sounds better. That is everything you pretty much need to know about using the glue compressor on vocals. It sounds great on vocals. It actually is originally supposed to be more of a bus compressor, so you can put it on your whole mix. You can put it on a bunch of different instruments, and we're going to do tutorials on that as well. But I love using it on vocals. I hope you do too. Let me know if you guys have any comments. And check out our channel, Piff Riffs, and piffriffs.com if you need guitar samples, synth samples, all kinds of instruments. We have loops, drums, and a bunch of tutorials on there too. So thank you very much for watching, and let us know if it was helpful. Have a great one.